welcome back to our fourth but not last game of the day. We are guaranteed tiebreakers that will start with CLG versus Dignitas, and we'll see if Immortals can join that group as well. Most of our seeds have been locked in. We know 1 and 2. We know 5 and 6. We know number 7, but we do not know if FlyQuest or TSM own 3rd, and we do not know if Immortals can yet fight for 8th.
Yeah, that's a big one that I'm looking for, because getting into playoffs, getting that last spot has a lot riding for it, for the organization overall. For FlyQuest specifically, they have had a really strong comeback. 5-0 is their win streak right now. Especially Santorin, I feel like, has been doing a lot for them in the jungle. His early game stats have been extremely good. His overall jungling has set his laners up for success. And that is WoW not playing as many of the carries as a lot of the other junglers. He plays a lot of set, he plays a lot of Trundle, a lot of objective focus, and frontline approach for the team. Now, here's a look. Yeah, exactly. Here's a look at some of those plays in action. This one specifically, I like that we start out with that. That was his red buff from topside all the way down into the level 2 gank, because that is the least expected from their opponents to set up bottom lane for early pressure. And then FlyQuest have also been really good at sticking to that game plan for the duration of the game. They were then able to focus on dragons and stack those up off their bottom lane lead.
Yeah, and meanwhile, another player who has been very good, because Santorin's been great all year long. I think he's an absolutely outstanding jungler. I want to talk about WildTurtle. He sat out for a few games. They put in Mash for a few of these, but Turtle has come back in, and he has been absolutely great. The biggest thing I've seen him flame for is being over-aggressive, flashing forward 2 months, but the man has an 8.0 KDA. He has stopped dying entirely while not getting a lot of ganks, still holding a gold lead, and still getting kills off in the early game.
Exactly. He's been sniping everybody with these Ash arrows too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been known to steal objectives with Ezreal ults, Jinx ults. His accuracy in global ultimates on a lot of the carries that have actually returned to prominence is showing up in these games, and is a specialty that FlyQuest are utilizing.
Yeah, picking Ash from a lot. His utility has been absolutely great, and so we are into this one. FlyQuest are going to be playing in the first round of playoffs. The question is, which team will they face? If they lose, they sit here at 4th seed facing Golden Guardians. If they win, they take 3rd spot away from TSM, despite being tied in record. They are 2-0 in the head-to-head. They will take 3rd seed, and they'll instead face Evil Geniuses as their first round. For the Immortals side, a win means they tie Dignitas and CLG, and we will tiebreak for the 8th and final seed into playoffs. If Immortals lose, they are alone in 10th, and their season is done. We'll see you in 2021.
All right, everything on the line here. I like the bans from both sides, honestly. The set is one of FlyQuest's highest priorities. Solo has a ton of games on it. One of the best champions for him flanking and setting up on the enemy teams. Plus, they showed already, in our highlight reel, Santorin flexing that pick to jungle as well. So gives them a lot of versatility. With that one off the board, just go over to a more farm and carry-oriented jungler for Santorin for himself. Maybe he'll be taking the spotlight more in this game. The thing with FlyQuest, though, and the way that they build their teams, they do not put PowerOfEvil on things like Galio. They almost always have PowerOfEvil on very good scaling, high damage AP threats from the mid lane, those control mages. Oh, really quick answer here from Immortals, though. They are going with mid-jungle invade and Twisted Fate, even with the wild card nerf. Gonna go try and push and roam for Insanity.
Okay, interesting. The first TF game of the split in the LCS for Insanity. And it's the first Nidalee for Xmithie as well, if my stats don't lie to me. So a new look here when it matters absolutely most. Again, backs against the wall. You cannot make playoffs if you lose this, and you've got to punch up against a top 4 team in FlyQuest to do so. PUE going to get his Orianna very early on. If you missed what he talked about with his Lichbane game yesterday, he said, look, it's roughly death cap in DPS if you auto pretty much at all. And it's got utility like move speed and CDR. It's actually good on a stat line, and the damage output isn't too bad. We'll see what build he goes for in this one. He knows, of course, he's against TF. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cleanse to survive some of the ganks out there. We'll see what comes through at the end of the day. Thresh grabbed early on. Not going to grab a bot laner early for FlyQuest, as the top tiers all banned away anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the real highlight with the Lich Bane thing, though, is the number of targets that you're going after. With one target, yeah, it is good. You can get those autos in, but obviously Lich Bane, single target damage that's going to be adding, so the more targets, the worse that build gets. I do like Immortals, though, like to your point of them stepping outside their comfort zone. You're probably not going to beat FlyQuest at a tank comp with scaling AP mid like Insanity has played. You know, he's played AP Kog'Maw, Karthus, a lot of these farm up, high damage, you know, AP teams, and to set that up with a 5-5, I honestly just don't see you beating FlyQuest at that. FlyQuest have been some of the best at executing that type of team comp. So yeah, I like it. They're going for, you know, Xmithie on Nidalee, see what he can do versus Graves. Generally, when Nidalee and Graves meet each other in the jungle, it's a stare down contest. Unless there's some laners interacting, you just kind of go your separate ways and focus on the farm.
Yeah, so Allorim on tank duty, of course. Very rare to see a draft where neither bot laner is grabbed in the first phase of picks and bans, but that's the case right here. So in come the FlyQuest bans saying, well, okay, the AD carry, like B tier pool is really wide, kind of play whatever. But hey, what's good into Thresh? Maybe, you know, the Tom Kench. Meanwhile, you can see Immortals getting rid of some of the aggression or aggressive bot laners there on the turtle side. I'm also curious if Immortals play something non-standard. For example, I think Karthus bot lane is absurdly strong and should be played, and Apollo's been one to pick up mages very quickly, but Immortals have no physical damage elsewhere, so that seems really unlikely. But I would like to see it in your do or die game. You know, that's the kind of stuff I'd like.
I mean, to do that point specifically, the little Karthus nerfs didn't come into effect until 10.16, and we're still on 10.15. So yeah, then your only problem is getting your big AD threat. But those types of venturing out into unexpected picks definitely can be rewarded in situations like this. Just going to be the Ezreal, though, for Apollo to bring his AD threat. And it's kind of weird, too, because you're thinking of Insanity's champion pool, and you're like, okay, well, he's pretty much only going to play a tank in the top side, tank or like a bruiser like Urgot or something.
Allorim, yeah.
Yeah, so Allorim, excuse me, yeah, Allorim never really going to be one of those big split pushers. So if you're doing Twisted Fate, it's more about like ganking towards bottom side and getting bottom side ahead, rather than a lot of the other options that you see later to the game with Twisted Fate style. And now I'm super curious with their saving last pick to support for Hakuho. He's got to go something hard engaged, because that's really the only win condition I see for this Immortals roster now.
I will say, this does feel less like directly trying to save it, and I don't think you're implying that anyway, but it's like, well, we got to get Ornn before it's banned, and we got to get Ezreal before it's contested by WildTurtle. It's ended up that Hakuho is going last. Yeah, I'm curious if it's going to be hard engaged like an Alistar, or if he's going to go really for lane like Morgana and say, well, we're going to have the gold card from Insanity. We'll Dark Binding after it. In teamfights, we'll rely on Allorim. That should be enough, we hope, but I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, I wouldn't even mind like a Zyra, put them under turret or something, but he's not going hard engaged. Not really. Braum is pretty bad at that. It's going to be keep the back line safe, keep them alive. You can block some of the Hurricane bolts. That can feel decent. You can stop the ball from going deeper down. Like, there's some interplay here, but really, Apollo's going to be safe on the back line. But there's an Aphelios on the other side to teamfight against.
And Immortals are putting everything on Apollo here. Like that has to be the way that they win this game. You know, I'm very curious to see how the early stages go with Xmithie on the Nidalee. Typically, Xmithie has been a lot safer. He is one of the lowest in counter jungling percentages, one of the lowest in forward percent, and all of these are metrics of time that you spend in the opponent's side of the map, in the opponent's jungle, taking away their camps, taking a, you know, creating pressure and getting deep vision. In Nidalee, that is something that is greatly rewarded, especially if you have a Twisted Fate on your team. And one of the ways that combo is usually used is the invade with Nidalee, try and find them at a camp, land a spear, Twisted Fate ultimate, and or even set it up with a gold card. But if they don't pull off those plays, then like they really got to bank on Apollo carrying hard with Ezreal on his mid-game power spike.
All right, well, we are into the game. It's going to be the last regular season game of FlyQuest until we see them next weekend in the best of fives against either Golden Guardians or Evil Geniuses, if they are to win this one. On the Immortals side, if they lose, they're out. If they win, they have a tiebreak. We've got an invade on the bottom side, and that's going to be a Lantern learned early on. Keep teammates safe, otherwise, though, they're going to stay alive at least.
Yep. The attempt at laying down wards on the Lantern, too, to make it more difficult for WildTurtle to click, he still gets the click off. So immaculate lantern take to start out our game, Freak. Big plays here already from
Definitely
Turtle.
big plays. It does force a bad skill at IgNar. You really do tend to want Flay and Hook if you can help it for the laning phase, because you can sometimes find yourself aggressive there. End of the day, though, it's not the worst thing in the world, and with Immortals losing 2 of their trinkets, it's actually going to make ganks easier for Santorin. The man already gets first blood in over half his games, and now there's 2 less wards to deal with.
Yep, and it is going to be a lot on Thresh setup.
Good.
Plenty of early golden experience here with 2 wards shared for the bottom lane. That's actually pretty decent for them.
Yeah.
Nice little chunk of gold given over to Turtle, and experience as well, and a little bit shared since the sweeper was purchased by IgNar.
All right, 40 gold earned as a result, 20 each. As now Santorin's going to go for his leechless start top side. It is kind of slower that way around, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a problem. It's very easy and very safe to take down these camps. Solo pushed in early, has been an absolutely stellar top laner. On Maokai duty, just tank it up for the front line. You've got Aphelios, Orianna for the back line. Not going to be a problem there for you at all. Early push goes Hakuho and Apollo. Not too surprising there either, of course. And level 2s come in.
All right, so paying attention to bottom lane route from Santorin as well on Graves. Clearing top to bottom can set up for attacking probably the biggest area that Immortals need to win in the Ezreal Braum. If you can try and delay Ezreal's mid-game spike, that is just so big. If you can try and set that Ezreal behind and you kind of mess up his forcing an early teleport usage, forcing something where he doesn't get his, tier recall and is kind of off, that can be really big because the biggest strength of Ezreal is obviously when you get your Orianna transformation and your Sheen item and everything starting to come together at the right time. And Immortals just want him to farm effectively in the beginning.
Definitely feels like a Triforce game there as well for even more damage in the mid game. I feel like that's the item you want to go for here on the Ezreal.
Yeah, especially with this comp, right?
Yeah. You're the only physical damage. You've got a Nidalee for the attack speed buff so that you really have more auto attack damage. I mean, Iceborne Gauntlet, even though it gives more mana, it's just nowhere close on AD. Even with the Mana conversion, you just get more out of Triforce. So we'll see if that does come through. A little bit of poke down there. Of course, you can't shield with Braum the red gun, so easy damage comes through. Hakuho takes some decent chunks down there, but overall going to be fine.
Santorin going to finish up that crab and pop the bloom as well. Both junglers already know, and you assume they did the exact same routes, trading top and bottom crab. As I said, kind of in Champ Select, when Graves and Nidalee meet up, unless there's something like lane interference with the pushing lane, or a huge brush advantage where you get to you throw out a blind spear or something like that, it's not going to have a commitment, and both of them are kind of just racing on power clearing and playing around the strengths of their lanes.
Yeah, for now it is power clearing, as you're mentioning. The gold, of course, fairly close in the early game. Nothing too absurd has happened very early on. Xmithie keeping up with Santorin, Nidalee against Graves. Nothing has really kept the junglers from doing what they've wanted to do so far. They're even on the same camps right now as the Gromps are going down across the map. And nothing to be really concerned about just yet into this one is FlyQuest is kind of waiting around for more to do. Nice try on the hook from IgNar, not quite going to land. We'll wait to see when the first recalls do come through for IgNar to make the roams happen. He's so good at getting around the map and affecting the other lanes. Damage towards Turtle. Back onto Apollo, though, and overall getting the better trade is the Aphelios. Nicely done there. His bot lane, again, is very slightly pushing, I think, out from FlyQuest unless they stop hitting, which seems to be the case right now. Solo out of mana. Allorim cannot quite get the auto. There we go. Claps him. Finds a knockup. Finds decent damage, but there shouldn't be any kill pressure just yet. You can't really do the last 200 damage. Solo, I believe he chunked a Biscuit just to be safe, and he's going to take the recall.
All right, so first reset for him on top side. We'll see. Oh, he actually sticks around because of the Biscuit you're talking about, him chugging. And bottom side will be the focus with Santorin moving in.
Damage across, yeah, okay, no big deals. I think it was only health potion. I think Solo would have more mana if it was a Biscuit, so my bad. Didn't see that one quite correctly. Or who knows, I'm double wrong and it was one after all. But regardless, I think he's trying to find maybe a slightly better recall. Yeah, get the full Catalyst in the TP. I think that's what he was waiting on. Maybe the Catalyst in like refillable before he cancels that spell. Regardless, Solo's going to be back on the top side. There it is. And okay, waiting for the health potion. Times that you can buy it mid-TP. There you go, waiting for the ambient gold. First recall going to come through. Easy BF sword for WildTurtle. They actually shove in the cannon wave, I believe, but with the dematerializer. It's actually not any slower than waiting for a different wave, so that's just fine. Saves the cooldown so they can make it one happen. And now it played towards mid, and that is Insanity forced to flash away. Really, really nice stuff, right? Turtle goes back. I might as well roam. Nothing else to buy. Let's do it. And they get a flash of Insanity. Hook! Ooh, that was a nice attempt. Insanity juked back. That might have hit him.
Dragon started up by Immortals, though, even though FlyQuest did a very good job burning 2 flashes on the bottom quadrant of the map. Because of the reset, Immortals get to take away the objective on the bottom half of the map first, before FlyQuest can capitalize on burning those summoner spells. So Hakuho, even with his flash blown, summoner spellbook switches right over. Now he's super defensive, exhaust heal, and even though they blow Insanity's flash in mid lane, with the dragon gone, Santorin just kind of fishing around for more camps and does get a scuttle crab for himself, but doesn't want to push his luck. He does want to push his luck as far as the counter jungling. Heads right back to the spawning raptors.
And I want to kind of take a second at about bot lane real quick as well, because this is what you get out of running Summoner Teleport is Apollo was able to, instead of recalling when Turtle did, walk to Drake when Turtle recalls, and then just TP to get back to lane in time to not lose any farm. Otherwise, Apollo would straight up lose an entire wave of CS just to help make sure the Drake goes down. And sometimes that can just be not worth it, right? You're missing 200 XP and 120 gold, and you just feel really bad about that one. But that's what Teleport gives you, is the ability to easily take that extra play and not lose tempo on the map. Exactly,
especially since on your first buy, you usually head into something like this. That is a bit of a power trough where you're vulnerable to ganks. Nice stun procced.
Play in from IgNar as Hakuho can now be the target. The TP in from Twisted Fate. Easy kill. This is what Immortals wanted, was Twisted Fate around the map, and they get a kill in bot lane for it.
And not just around the map, but bottom lane for sure. They want as much possible focus here for Apollo as they can for this Ezreal, for a big mid-game power spike to try and carry the team. He does give up most of a turret plate. PowerOfEvil should be able to finish that one off, so 1 turret plate for this first blood play, but really well set up by Immortals. Hakuho, once again, he keeps on trying to go get brush control and land these Qs onto Turtle. He does get the stray one there, so as soon as it lands, Apollo doesn't hesitate, hops right over the minions, able to proc it there, and even though IgNar is chasing, really well-timed Twisted Fate ultimate, another Braum stun, sets it up.
Yeah.
He can just cruise right in, and he even gets the gold, so he cashes in. It'll be an earlier Rod of Ages to start stacking for Insanity, to continue on with that process.
Kobe, that felt like some miscommunication as well, because that should have been an easy call for PoE. Say, hey, TF6,
run.
He's missing. He walked out of lane, and FlyQuest walked forward to keep hitting Hakuho there. That trade was fine. They could have backed up to their turret 3 seconds ago and not been open. Instead, he was on the way down. He made sure to not be in shockwave range. That was good by Immortals. Like, they played those spots well. An overstep, though, by FlyQuest, which is honestly very rare from Turtle, but it happened there, and it got IgNar killed.
And honestly, kind of hard to determine, like, you know, who's making the call there, but IgNar also had flash, so it could have been a really quick disengage. Santorin, though, with red buff, goes up and chases out Allorim. This is a Riptail chase out too, by the way, so you can take that entire turret.
Yeah, that's gone. Like that is going to be at about 200 health after the Herald charge, and 2 autos will kill that one off. So finally, Summons becomes targetable. This is going to be first turret in the top lane. Solo close in CS, but obviously a very big lead top side. Got most of those plates before jungle intervention. Obviously now a whole lot better, and that is a huge gold lead for the Maokai. He is going to be pretty unkillable pretty fast with the extra surge of income.
Yep, in the battle of tanks, who can get tankier first? Honestly, it's not just the DPS side of the race, but Maokai going to go a long ways there. Honestly, opening up that top side to some deeper wards too can really help out Santorin. He's got full warrior completed now on the Graves and can start to play a little bit more aggressively. You do still have to have better communication and keeping track of the Twisted Fate ultimate, as you know, Insanity does have that back up again. And that has been the one thing that has pinched FlyQuest so far.
Santorin going to grab as much of the mid wave as he can as his mid laner recalls away. We are seeing Archangels come through from PowerOfEvil. Now we have seen actually all 3 major items that build out of, not Fiendish Codex, but the mana one that I'm blanking on the name of.
Lost Chapter.
Lost Chapter. We've seen all 3 out of Orianna, and this one is going to be the Archangel Staff. It's more raw AP. It's obviously more defensive because you have the active shield there as well. Overall, it's going to be solid.
Yeah, to me, this is my personal favorite. It scales so incredibly well once you can transform it. You get, like you're saying, a huge increase in defensive properties. And since PowerOfEvil has gone cleansed this time around, looking at the Twisted Fate stun, possible Braum stuns, giving him basically another summoner spell and that big fat shield like a barrier would serve goes a really long way. Considering you're not going to face a lot of excess damage on that side and can set up PowerOfEvil for really good shockwaves. Plus, it scales so nicely with the extra mana that you get in your AP later on. FlyQuest, though, chasing them off of this Ocean Drake. That's our Drake. One for the Coral Reef. There you go. Sequest gets their own.
There you go. Good job, Sequest. IgNar forced a flash away from a Braum ulti that was coming in, and it will be a fairly clean disengage. Gold very close between these teams, despite the kill. That is a flash from the wall. That is a lot of CC. Insanity is running, but he had the way out in time. Thank you, Merktreads. Thank you, running for dear life. Shockwave will not land.
Yep, surprise there for FlyQuest. Multiple flashes over trying to take down Insanity, but they don't get the lockdown. Nice tenacity locked in. He even has a stopwatch in inventory, so is a really difficult target to actually kill with that play. And it's a 2-for-1 in the flashes, seeding even bottom side pressure here as Xmithie went for the counter jungle and forces Turtle off that tower. Apollo getting plates for himself, denying CS as well. Cole 33 away from being popped for him. And it's always nice to get a bunch of turret plate money onto this Ezreal because already with the Manamune starting to stack that up really quickly.
And I gotta say, it felt like Allorim was freezing top lane for a while there because after that top lane turret died, the farm was equal at about 85 apiece. Allorim got 30 and Solo got 5 since then. And at least one wave was pushed in. Solo, of course, went for the play across the map. He helped get Drake. That's obviously valuable. Went for the play on Insanity. That's obviously valuable. End of the day, though, one turret plate dies top lane, no extra kills for Solo, and now a farm difference, damage towards PoE. He's got Flash, has to burn it. The re-engage coming to the bottom side. That is a knockup, and that is going to be a dead Santorin. A flashless Graves. He tried to kill Insanity, couldn't do it, and it's already going to be Immortals with 2 kills to 0.
Tremendous value for Immortals. They're getting both the flashes off of the carries that they're targeting. PowerOfEvil does survive, but then Santorin just takes the hit for them, and it's going to be continued counter jungling. Graves drops his watch, and Nidalee can take over, able to take away the red buff, and that should mean a cascade of pressure with jungler down, red buff steal here. They get to keep it up on the bottom side, and Apollo feeling quite nice.
All right, IgNar takes some decent damage. Good little ulti there, stops the recall, turns bone plating off for a little while. His support's going back down the map, and so far, decent for Immortals. I'm curious if the late game's going to look as good because I still think the FlyQuest scaling is quite awesome. Turtle goes for the trade, never actually grabs the lantern, but the hook is going to pull Hakuho into turret range. Thankfully for him, he's got minions to bodyguard those shots, it doesn't matter. But now, Solo going to fight Xmithie over this red buff. Hey, one of you has Smite, the other one is a tree, so not going to happen for you. That was last split. Solo, you're no longer Tree Quest. You got to find something aquatic to play, maybe. Regardless, puts down the Zapling, fights over some wards, and PoE pushes in mid. Plates are gone.
Yeah, little Nurse Nidalee as well. Heads over to the mid lane, throws out the heal for Insanity. Here we go, just in time. I think Xmithie might get an assist for this too because of the recency of the...
he's going to get an assist, right. Kobe. Definitely get... Actually, no assist for Xmithie. He's not going to get one. I tell a lie. It was a kill. Xmithie shows up to make that one come down, and Immortals yet to lose a death this game. All they've lost with a Herald charge in the top lane. They are getting kills, and they are staying up in gold.
Yeah, and they just keep getting pinched by the Twisted Fate ultimate. Insanity once again lets it fly. His tower took some damage and a few minions pushed in, but he's making great use of this Twisted Fate. Ahead of playoffs, showing flexibility is really powerful. And you talked about in Champ Select where Immortals had done a lot of control mages of scaling for Insanity, but this one, you know, with the Twisted Fate and getting off multiple successful roams for themselves, and also with the big early lead setting themselves up, this could be a very good look for Immortals, keeping up their playoff hopes alive and heading in with some momentum.
And for Immortals, if they are to close this game out, again, they tie break for 8th. And crucially for them, they are the final boss of that tiebreaker. They only have to play the winner of CLG Dig. And then if they win that one game, they are the 8th and final team in playout. So it's killed 2 Nexuses today, and Immortals are in. See if they can do that here. Of course, leading early on in the mid game against FlyQuest. Obviously a lot more to play. But that is their goal here, and looking pretty sharp to do so. If there is a day to turn it on, if ever, it is this one now. Coming through, switching the roster around after the first few games. Win this in the first look. This time around, moving things around. And so far,
and
so
around
good.
And around we go.
I know.
FlyQuest will pick up this Rift Trail and freaking guess where she's going? Straight down mid.
Immediately summoned right there. Mid lane turret is absolutely dead. No way you stop this one. Turret's going to be gone. FlyQuest will get 2 turrets before they get a single kill. Maybe now looking at Xmithie as he's going to be pulled towards. There's the turret going down. Re-engage towards IgNar is going to be a lot of damage. He's stunned. He is definitely going to burn the stopwatch, but maybe die soon after. No way out. Play in though. Look at the re-engage. Stopwatch now burned by Hakuho. An easy target and a second kill coming through as well. 2 for 1 in the fight. Looking at another route coming through for Solo, knocking back Apollo. Make it a third. FlyQuest showing up to play.
Twisted Advance, you get to go along for the ride with Ezreal. And Solo takes the long ride with him. Freak, the tanks have arrived.
They have arrived, and FlyQuest just brought the game right back into it. It started out 0-3 in kills, but 2-0 in turrets, and then they finally found themselves that team fight. The engage was there, and they started picking out the champions. We, of course, have a pause in the game. We will tell you what that's about very shortly once we hear it for ourselves. But, I mean, FlyQuest, I was just saying about a minute ago, like, all right, maybe they've done it, and then FlyQuest find themselves the team fight.
Yep, I can tell you right now, little update, the players are just experiencing some lag, so that's what the pause is for. They're trying to sort that out first. After that team fight, though, yeah, this is the biggest mover in the game that we have had up until this point. FlyQuest chasing down all of these extra kills after first one picked up there by Immortals is really big for them because they just launched the Rift Herald. They can make a huge push down mid lane and really open up the map for themselves, taking away the safety that Twisted Fate was using to get off those side of the map plays. And as we mentioned, FlyQuest also have pretty good scaling in this game, so they aren't going to be nearly as worried after that fight as they were previously for how this game was opening up.
For sure, and I'm now very curious to see like what the game looks like long term, because as you're mentioning, the team fight scaling, totally agree, absolutely FlyQuest favored. You've got, the Archangel staff Orianna, the Aphelios behind it. Turtle is farming pretty well. That's going to look pretty solid. You've both got tanks, no problems there. But there was a different look on the other side, right? There's a Twisted Fate there. The global teleport pressure we've seen time and again be the reason why you can win the game. Split Push has won so many games so far this split, or even a split push pressure to get yourself into a 5v4 and use a TP disadvantage or advantage to make your way in. So Insanity, who's been having a good TF game so far, he's been getting, I think he's gotten a kill and an assist in his ult so far. He's done pretty well for gold income. Maybe he can be the factor later on, even if the team fights aren't easy for Immortals.
Yeah. And we do have a replay of the fight coming up that they're building right now that we can use to take another look at what exactly went on here. Again, FlyQuest started out with their push with the Rift Herald, and initially with the hook here, the shockwave actually missing in route from PowerOfEvil was pretty big. Immortals do use the Braum ultimate. They lock down IgNar, and they're like, great, we got our first kill. Allorim has arrived also. We're setting up for our second one. Hakuho flashes forward to try and get his passive started on Turtle. But after the stopwatch completes, FlyQuest coming out of it, Turtle just flashes away. He turns on them with the extra damage. And with Solo arriving on the Maokai, they lock down 3 targets for themselves. Twisted Advance following him right over the wall, setting them up for not only the mid tower, not only those extra 3 kills that they got, but also the dragon as their reward.
Yep, and that means they've kind of turned the corner here, right? They've got the tanks for the engage. They've got the tools they needed. Turtle, obviously, as you mentioned, good flash to get away. I think that looks a lot different if Aphelios can't get the damage in, but of course, PoE was safe as well. It feels bad for IgNar, but hey, if your goal of support is get us in there and tank the damage as my team collapses, we get to the 3, you take those deaths, and you're going to feel good about it at the end of the day because you're still going to win that game out. And now I'm really worried for Immortals. We know from watching the games play out, right? They have a hard time closing out in the mid to late game. It's what had made the old Immortals roster work so well with the Soaz Xmithie shot calling duo with all of their, 18 years between the two of them experience playing competitive League of Legends, like that lines up at the end of the day and gets you some of those wins. They, of course, have lost that here with Soaz out of the lineup, of course, and I'm curious if they can shot call themselves to the victory. If they can, that's awesome. That would be great to see. Right now, of course, yes, Immortals are still up in gold by 800, but that just doesn't... based off that fight, it feels like we're seeing FlyQuest turn the corner.
Yeah, and they are going to have, Ornn item upgrades, and there is going to be a lot of focus on Ezreal. I think if Apollo plays super well and he can keep his distance from the Maokai, then maybe we're coming up on an area in the game where you can try and play off of him. I believe he's getting very close to his Muramana transformation and has got his first Sheen item, or at least the Sheen itself, deciding what to build it into. But that is a spike that everyone knows to try and play around for Ezreal, while Aphelios is still building BF items and crit items, to try and bring the big AoE. So there could still be another big push for Immortals. But the reason why, everybody favors FlyQuest coming into this one has been the consistency. They're on a 5-0 win streak for themselves, and they don't seem to be too worried.
Yeah, doing pretty well overall, looking to get up to that third place spot with a win here as they kind of get themselves out of a gold deficit. Power Split's coming in pretty soon. A big winner for me as well in this game was the fact that FlyQuest was able to get that second Drake to grab that Ocean Drake so that they could stem the bleeding there, because Immortals were winning the early game. They had pressure down to the bottom side. The fact that you have to learn Lantern level 1 on Thresh means you cede all that pressure down there. Then the TF gank came in. Like, it looked really good. And, okay, even if the team fight might look better, well, you can Dragon Stack and get there in the long term and help push you over the edge that way. That's been slowed down as well. And if FlyQuest do keep winning the team fights, and that's where they go. Otherwise, it's Immortals having to pull themselves back up, take that one loss, take that team fight, but get through the rest of the game. They got to win this one, and they got to win the winner of Dignitas CLG. If they can close that one out to get themselves into playoffs, that's what they have to make happen. Now, of course, we do have some server difficulties, so we are headed to a quick break, and we will see you with a solution on the other side. See you soon.
Getting back a lot, so it's pretty severe.
Would you guys want to maybe
But I don't know if that was
go in
correlated
and
with the
see,
thing. It's hard to
if
tell.
it gets
'Cause I
better? Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us?
Hello and welcome back to the show. We will be unpausing shortly. It's all been sorted out. We're ready to go in a second as FlyQuest and Immortals are mid-game right now in the LCS 2020 Summer Split. Teams fighting over playoff spots right now. FlyQuest with a win get 3rd seed. With a loss, they get 4th seed. Immortals fighting to stay alive in the playoff run. If they lose, they are out. If they win, they are fighting the winner of CLG Dig for the 8th and final playoff spot.
Yep, definitely has a lot of implications for them, and they just lost a big team fight in mid, which we were talking about being very concerning, because moving forward, you're going to see a bunch of magic resists start to come in. Already the Maokai really stacking up. Oh, never mind. Insanity is in with a red card.
Onto the mid lane yet again. Somebody heal up in a second. Pops it, gets away, and now it's time to run for dear life. He's got the move speed. He's going to get out. So, all right, we tried. PoE, healthy enough.
We tried. Don't check the cards on that one. Just a little red there for the slow. They aren't able to have any extra follow-up damage, and they are out of there. Honestly, though, talking about the extra items starting to come in here now for the side of FlyQuest. 2 dragons are to their name, and it's definitely looking like Apollo's going to have to pull out some big moves. Thankfully, he is going that Trinity Force that we were recommending for him, with the rest of the team having so much magic damage. He needs to pump out the DPS. Can't really afford to go for the Iceborne utility. Really need maximum damage.
Yes, going to go for that as much as possible. I am a huge fan of Triforce Ezreal. I know people are saying right now, it's like, oh, it's kind of comp-based. You have to do more physical damage. You really want to go Triforce. In my mind, I think Triforce is better. I'm a little bit biased all the time. I just want to see it every game from the Ezreals, but
Bigger
I'm glad at least people are moving a little bit. Like, I'm a little biased, but at least we're seeing more Triforce than we were a year ago, despite those items being the same items they were 2 years ago. So, you know, we're going to the right direction. Xmithie, yeah, gets the smite, grabs the red. Feels good, man, going for it. Always happy to see tie breaks go in, so, you know, I'm kind of in camp 2 more games instead of camp 1 more games. We'll see, though. Also added an S to 1 more game. Don't know why, but we're going to move on to this one as Immortals hold on to their 1,000 gold lead, but FlyQuest have had 2 straight Drakes, and we are going towards a Cloud Soul.
All right, topside control pretty strong here for FlyQuest too, as the red buff is spawning. Should be just a red buff trade. Yes, Xmithie did get to the other one just in time to smite it away. But FlyQuest with the extra vision here, trying to force them out. Let's see if IgNar actually roams up to try and help, because Xmithie not letting them have it without a fight.
Good smite for Santorin, gets the big one. A couple small ones go back and forth. Apollo still farming, 192 CS on him. Now a fight for the red. And you know what? Turtle gets his revenge overall. You may have smited my red. I auto-attack yours. Thanks very much. And hey, Turtles is still on.
All right, I think next key step for Immortals is going to have to be some sort of setup here with Insanity. Right when we came back from the replay,
whoop, that is a good shockwave. That was a lot of damage. Xmithie is just barely getting away, but the QW means a shutdown, and now PoE is wearing the red buff. They've got them all now.
And it starts to roll in the favor of FlyQuest. The top side focus does pay off for them. PowerOfEvil still has both summoners available on this Orianna too. So going to be very, very scary. With Seraph's transformation, you have the shield. So he can play really aggressively with the Flash Ghost he's got here with the Spellbook. And PowerOfEvil is definitely one of the guys where this stage of the game, with double mobility summoners and the extra shield, he's always a guy that tries to get the most out of Orianna's auto attacks and full kit. Definitely expect him to try and set something big up for FlyQuest. Meanwhile, on the side of Immortals, again, Insanity going to try and pick somebody off here with the Twisted Fate ultimate, but since FlyQuest are pushing in so securely, might be difficult to find the opening.
Ooh, that's a flay backwards into a hook. Nice play. Could still come in, but chooses not to follow through. No CC left on the Thresh. Box wouldn't have done it. So Allorim walks back out. 2 out of Spike is in for him. 2 out of Spike there for Solo, but Ornns are better because he's Ornn. And waiting for level 13, or now 14 to get the next one.
And the Lich Bane is done for Insanity, so the split push damage can come through on the towers. This is a big TF possible damage output on top side. He actually half-channeled a recall before canceling it and didn't get up to the turret quite yet. Didn't get to start using the Lich Bane, and that gave Solo enough time on Maokai to reset and head up to the top side. Should be able to catch that wave and keep him off the extra damage.
Well, Solo does not want to take the entire wave, so he's got to be... yeah, he's trying to play around the W. Okay, Solo's far enough back. He can gold card Lich Bane the turret, do a bit of damage there. Auto attack with a stacked deck, but look at this. No one is touching PoE. He's getting this turret by himself, as Allorim is not there yet to do anything. Whereas on the Sanity side, he's pensive, like, can I do it? Can I walk away? By the way, half health as Maokai is chasing him across the map, and the teammates are coming to defend him. Insanity terribly low on health, down to about 1/3. Finally walks away. You can see Solo clearly threatening enough that TF can't do all that much.
And since the Dragon's about to spawn, I think this is a really good setup for FlyQuest. They are 1 away from setting themselves up on Soul Point. If Santorin just transitions on down, they're going to have first setup in the Dragon area. Turtle is at least on his 2-item power spike, even though Apollo is at the dream scenario for Ezreal. Your transformation plus your Trinity Force. Doesn't look like Immortals are going to fight for it. They want to trade instead. They're going to trade, hopefully for them, topside damage.
Heads up for IgNar. He's like, I can see this one coming. They're going to go for the dive on Solo. No, thank you. We're going to knock this one down. The minion wave getting thinned out. They will still kill the turret, but they will not get the kill. Lantern obviously helping with that one to make sure it goes through. But now FlyQuest have 2 Cloud Drakes. They are on Soul Point, and that was traded for a single outer turret.
Yeah, and it's just a Cloud Drake with a lot of people kind of make fun of. But for me, it actually feels pretty nice on tanks like Maokai. So you can speed yourself up with your ultimate. You try and basically try and zone off a side of the team fight with your ult. And then with the extra speed, you get to go Twisted Advance somebody and lock them down in it. Since you get such a big burst of speed with it.
And item builds come through, we see the next spikes come in. I want to point out that Apollo is trying to maximize damage. Blade of the Ruin King 3rd. This is the ideal build if you need to be a damage carry and kill tanks. This is what you want to see. Obviously, Iceborne Death Dance can be the more defensive option, but he needs to kill. Gets the item upgrade there from the Ornn. He's got a decent amount of damage coming through. Ruin King will be the next spike. On the other side, Insanity is grabbing Rapid Fire Cannon 3rd for the extra range, the extra reach, to have those gold cards land on priority targets. Despite a Lantern or a Flash or something else, he can still try to find that guy and get the damage in. Not a terrible auto attacker either as TF, so pretty solid option here. And we'll see if this can turn into anything more. Immortals only on a 400 gold lead, but staring down the barrel of Cloud Soul in 3.5 minutes.
And until that point, trying to keep their vision on Baron so that they don't get any sort of poor trade there with FlyQuest having plenty of damage at this point. FlyQuest can definitely burn that down if Immortals get a little bit lazy on that. And you can see the control wards continually doing work for FlyQuest. They're keeping the pressure on the guessing game of the vision here for Immortals, continuing to clear out that Baron, drawing Immortals into this small jungle corridor here, which makes it way easier for PowerOfEvil to try and line up one of these shockwaves.
And there we go. Nice smite steal comes in. Santorin grabs the red and doesn't really take any meaningful damage on the way out, despite the ability power stacking up. You've got the makings of a Banshee's Veil going through for Xmithie. The Roa is stacking up, of course, as well. But no real damage being dealt. FlyQuest feeling very comfortable and confident as they run across the map. Apollo keeps being given farm, but can he ever carry the team fights as a 2-item Aphelios is on the opposite side and doing just fine in items?
Yeah, it definitely is going to be difficult, but definitely doable. I think the thing that would really just crash it for Immortals is if they are unable to keep this red quadrant clear of FlyQuest wards, then you run into the problem, the Maokai teleport coming in. If Maokai gets a flank off on Immortals and can get that ultimate plus Twisted Advance combination, finds his way to the back to Apollo, that's where everything does come crashing down for them.
And as the waves get cleared out, it's going to be Allorim just doing his best to catch the farm and play the defensive side of the map. We know Baron is on the table and theoretically an option. Both tanks now playing this side of the map. Neither mid laner has the actual summoner spell of teleport right now as they've spellbooked around, and now that's going to be a shockwave getting some damage, but Xmithie can easily heal that back up, no problem at all. Kiwi going to pop the ghost on his summoner spellbook to get the heck out of there. 3 items in, Void Staff done, means he can do some decent damage to frontline overall. Just not a pure raw AP stacking build just yet. I would like to see Deathcat 4th maybe. Xmithie going to take down the chickens, keep the farm going but still it's Santorin with more gold overall and a higher level on that champion.
PowerOfEvil definitely anticipating having to fight front to back here, having to work their way through the Braum and Ornn front line. So see if he can get lined up for a good shockwave with solo. I mean, I do like Maokai as one of the really easily targeted ball delivery systems to try and hand feed a good shockwave in there. But Immortals doing their part to at least secure a blue for Xmithie. Doesn't want to give it away to Insanity, as Insanity is on split pushing duty, trying to set up side lane pressure for the Dragon.
Other side of the map, looks like top lane's going to start, actually, I'm guessing slowly pushing back towards Immortals over time, as it is going to get reinforced faster as the new waves come in, so that'll eventually be some gold in the pockets. We'll wait to see what comes through into that one. Drake spawning in 30 seconds, and Immortals really cannot give this one up. FlyQuest pushing down to the mid lane, IgNar takes a Javelin, and he's going to be fine overall. 23 seconds on this one as Solo's pushing in to get some vision control. Overall, the river mostly belongs to FlyQuest. It's Immortals playing defense in the mid lane, knocking down the waves, giving some gold to Insanity. TP spent for Apollo to come in. He has to have Blade of the Ruin. Can have a chance this fight. Allorim walks into the Fog of War. They're going to hook him in. Decent damage, but he is the tank. He is built for this. Is it going to be enough? Still pushed around, and he's going to have to flash away to save his life. Ulti's come in. Turtle gets the kill, and a flash out from Insanity away from Shockwave. A 1-for-0, and Immortals could not hit the back line at all. They simply kill the Allorim tank side, and all will be well. Gold card doesn't mean much. They're going to flash in on Solo's side. Looking to knock down Insanity. He's going to force to run away as well. For his own flash to get out for this one. And now Solo's got to be careful. He's going to kite back, but it's still a 5v4 for FlyQuest. And again, they know Cloud Solo's waiting for them. 25 seconds on Allorim respawning, has ulti and TP when he does. Xmithie wants to make something happen, can't do it just yet. Santorin in the pit, no vision right now for Immortal. They have to go in at some point or they can't make it happen. When does Xmithie come in? He's rooted in place. Cloud Soul grab TP in. This is the fight that somehow Immortals must win, but they've already lost their support. Insanity slowed down by the box, can't find a target. Attacked by Santorin, stunned in place, and he's not going down. Finally, one kill picked up. Look at the chase down, but already the mid lane is going to drop. Burn the stopwatch. Solo being attacked. Can Apollo kill him? He's trying, he's rooted, and the heal comes back through, and he simply cannot die. Allorim late to the party by himself. It's not going to matter. He kills one. Turtle tries to kite the rest. He gets a shield, and that's going to be an ace. Immortals are about to lose their season.
FlyQuest, not only do they get the soul, but they're going to get the Baron as well, Freak. Guess what? That was 6 kills in their favor as Allorim respawns, teleports back out, and is right back in that death chamber. FlyQuest sending him home packing.
Really well played by Solo. Locked up in Nidalee so she could not flash or jump into the pit. There was no chance at a smite steal, only someone else stealing the damage. Hakuho back on the map. I mean, I've seen sillier steals than max rank Braum Qs. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I've seen more unlikely situations. As ult, Smite is down. I want to point that out. Smite was down. They tried their very best. They waited out the damage. Thanks for the leash, Ezreal. Grabbed that one. And at this point, FlyQuest have all but locked 3rd seed.
So in a front-to-back team fight, you will take an early health lead on the front line. You just fight straight through the tank. You've got an early lead on the health bar, and FlyQuest lay into Allorim. Ults over the wall do, thankfully for FlyQuest, get the last little bit of damage to finish them off as well. And then they try and grab a little bit more, knowing that they have the take advantage. Solo is Maokai, so he can head right back out there. He goes in for the flash to sit advantage, but Insanity, nice cleanse, able to get himself out of there. And the damage on the escape was not big enough to take anyone down for FlyQuest, so they can set up for this dragon. As we mentioned, Solo, he's got his eyes on Xmithie. He's just playing block right now. He's a defense. So you just have to twist it advance, make sure Xmithie can't hop in, roots him in place. That allows Santorin easily to land that smite. Then you've got the teleports coming in. Insanity comes in with his teleport. Santorin immediately flashes on him. And they're able to win that fight on the outside despite PowerOfEvil whiffing that shockwave. Santorin is there with the extra damage. Nobody from Immortals able to finish off Solo either. Healing off of his passive, goes back in for the extra auto attack. And then once Allorim arrives, he tried to teleport in as soon as he could, coming back from his death sentence, but only able to get 1 kill on the outside means that's not enough. They're able to take down for the Baron, and we're right back to live, Freak. Baron already being put to good use.
Right back to live, but not much of one left for the Immortals squad. About to end their season 4-14. They could not quite find a roster that found winning ways. As Immortals are going to try to rebuild for the next year. They are going to try somehow to fight back a 5,000 plus Cloud Soul deficit. And there's maybe the option. You can maybe hope. Bigger comebacks have certainly happened, but it's so unlikely as the ult comes in for some damage. Damage towards PoE, but he's going to be fine. Hakuho forced back as well. And FlyQuest keep the push going, hoping to end again with the third seed with a win here. They would automatically win the tiebreak over TSM with a 2-0 head-to-head record, and that's where they're headed right now off the fact that they are very far ahead in this game, looking to close it out.
And with the last 50 seconds of the Baron buff, they're just buffing up this cannon minion. You can see Allorim trying to stare it down. He couldn't do anything about it, but they give up on the last wave of push after Immortals go for the reset on their health bars. FlyQuest don't actually test the waters there to aggressively push inside or rotate over to the bottom, maybe on that last minion wave with all their members during the reset for Immortals. Maybe they could have made a stronger push, but they go for the reset, and it is going to be a lot of money spent after the consecutive 6-kill teamfight 1 plus the Baron taken.
And here we go. Baron off the map. Elder Dragon in 135. That'll be the next big neutral objective up, but right now FlyQuest with their 5,000 gold lead can look to play Siege instead. All the turrets outside the base are already gone. It's a little bit more difficult to knock down the inhibitor turret once. Of course, with the Twisted Fate and Ezreal, there is decent wave clear on the squad, and obviously there's some decent team fighting as well with Ornn and Braum for frontline and teamfight initiation. So it's FlyQuest playing a bit more slowly, playing mostly around exactly where they are right now, right? Control the eastern jungle, control wards. You can see 2 on your screen right now. Sightstone wards dotted around there as well, saying, look, if we control this jungle, if we control this territory, we can set a trap in any given brush and win that fight. We can go for the Drake, and if they're not coming, we can just finish killing it down. The engage, of course, not very easy. Allorim playing his CC and dash abilities pretty well, but turret still taking a little bit of damage. A couple of chunks come through. Nice by Demolish. Turret almost dead. They're going to go for the play right now. They're going to go for the team fight itself. Hakuho, 1 hit from dead, has to flash away. Re-engage coming through for the Ornn. Gets 3 knockups, gets damage towards Solo, but he's Lantern back to safety. Now it's Insanity back across the map. It's Apollo jumping in for some damage, looking for a little bit more. Solo at half health. This is theoretically winnable, with the health bars a little bit low on the FlyQuest side. Solo chunk back to half HP. And I feel like Immortals will have to try now, because when else but now when you're getting dropped low.
Ooh, yeah, Xmithie gonna have to be pretty worried about the extra speed boost there. Does jump away.
Another chunk. Hits Turtle on a half HP, and the Elder Dragon in 10 seconds. This is the best time Immortals will get, is an Elder Dragon teamfight win when FlyQuest are at half health on most champions. This is Immortals' time. They have to make it work, and they have to go soon. Can it go? Can it happen? Can they find it? Can I try to knock off Banshee's Veil? That happens. PoE is now a viable target. Gold card temporarily on cooldown. Insanity level 17 gets that back soon. Xmithie shoves in the mid wave. You're seeing the recall from Solo. He can TP back in, but that is about 10 seconds of him not being in combat, and Immortals are going to start the fight. Blue card gets Insanity back to some mana. Here comes the TP play from Solo once he finds it. A lot of TP flank wards exist all around that side of the jungle. There's the reveal on all 5. There's the Maokai teleport. This is the play. FlyQuest get the health back on Santorin. Here comes Solo around the back. Here comes the ulti. Not going to get gold carded. Here comes the engage. A play on a 2. Right into the fight they go. Safe spot for Xmithie. Ulti over the top. 2 kills going to come through in a second. As Solo gets the first, Solo gets the second. And it's time to run away. 3 for 0. Make it a 4th. Nothing left to do. Goodbye to Immortals. FlyQuest will send them packing. Send them home. We'll see you next year. FlyQuest gonna go 12-6 for the Bud Light Ace. They will walk into the base. They will claim the 3rd seed. And evil geniuses, get ready. FlyQuest, off the longest win streak in the LCS right now, are headed to playoffs, ready to take down the best of 5s.
And Solo with the fastest tree you've ever seen, freak. Teleport speed comes in. Cloud Dragon Soul comes in with his ultimate, and they get the fight FlyQuest need to end it all.
Well done, FlyQuest. 12-6. WildTurtle back in the roster, and they won basically every single game once he came back in, including a high-profile win over Team Liquid themselves. FlyQuest have beaten everyone worth beating in the LCS. And the question is, how far can they go? They were our runners-up in the spring split, falling to the absurdly dominant Cloud9. Cloud9 is no longer that team right now. Can FlyQuest make that happen as third seed? We will see them first round. How deep will they go, Kobe?
I mean, I'm definitely looking at the top 4 of playoffs being super exciting here. All of these teams trading blows, trading games within the regular season is setting up for a definitely hotly contested playoffs. But we're going to have to wait till next week because we got one more tiebreaker left in the regular season here
to
determine the final standings.
All right, we will have Dignitas versus CLG a bit later today. It will be the next game, and we'll see who the last team in play is going to be, but it is time for a quick break. On the other side, we will break that match down with the State Farm Analyst Desk.
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back to the LCS as FlyQuest has just taken down Immortals in our final game of the regular season. One tiebreaker to go, of course, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But first, we have to acknowledge the fact that FlyQuest just kind of snuck into third there right at the end, my friends.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been talking about TSM. FlyQuest quietly been climbing the standings and having a really solid split. Bit of a tough game to end out against the Immortals here, but hey, even first place Team Liquid struggled against them.
Yeah, I mean, I think FlyQuest for a while, when they were struggling, they just kind of had a problem with identity. And FlyQuest's identity has always been, once they start grouping, they're going to start winning team fights. So this game starting off a little bit sloppy. They didn't really respect the TF ult, But as soon as they started grouping, like this was the FlyQuest we saw in spring, and I hope this is the FlyQuest we see in playoffs.
That is why I like the TF pick out of IMT. Your last hurrah, giving yourself a little bit more agency, trying to play around the side lanes a little bit more. Unfortunately, they don't really pack the firepower with the side lane champions you want to abuse this pick, so it would have to come down to the team fights, which was FlyQuest's wheelhouse. I believe at this fight they already have their Cloud Soul, so you have So Speedy, the Orianna, and everybody else.
This fight here was the one that ended it all.
No. Yeah, I couldn't believe watching it that between the Ezreal and the Nidalee, Immortals couldn't pick up one of those kills. It really did feel like a fight that could have gone either way, and to Probably's point, you get to see the stronger 5v5 of FlyQuest.
Yeah, that ended up being a problem for Immortals, where, yeah, they do have the TF, so you usually want to be in a split push, but at this point, yeah, Maokai gets a flat TP because they force Immortals into them, FlyQuest does, but what Immortals had to do is when that mid-fight happened earlier, it's like they just can't dedicate to fights like that. You have the Nidalee, you have the Ezreal, you have the Braum, so you outrange the entire comp of FlyQuest, so you want them to always engage into you, and then you can, like, land the poke. But Immortals kept taking these fights that FlyQuest is just better at, and their comp is built for it.
Yeah, credit to Immortals. They made it a battle, but FlyQuest does come out on top. And, gents, this is where we return to that conversation around, some of the misgivings we had for FlyQuest midway through the split when they were making roster swaps. Because when you take a look at their performances with Turtle, tells a little bit of a different story, Mark.
Yeah, 8-2, and it's worth noting that those 2 losses were only against C9. They actually haven't lost a game with Turtle to any other team this split. And so we should really not sleep on FlyQuest heading into playoffs here. They could very easily make another run, especially with so much up in the air. Like, yeah, they lost to C9, but C9's been losing more recently. They might actually be better than C9 now. They could be the second best team in the league. It's actually pretty hard to tell.
Yeah, hey, that's a statement if I've ever heard one.
And
only time will tell. No, I love it. I love it. Strong, because it is up to FlyQuest to prove it once we get into the postseason. Of course, they had played Team Liquid once with Turtle in the lineup, but once with Mash in the lineup, so that would be another rematch that I would be very curious to take a look at. But it should be, again, acknowledged how well Turtle is playing and FlyQuest as a whole with him in the lineup. I do want to turn our attention, though, to the prediction game. Pat Mark on the back because he needs it. You did
Round
fantastically, my friend.
Round of applause.
Look at that
Mark.
record, 67-23. How'd you do it?
By predicting the team that was going to win.
Are we doing it wrong the whole time?
That's a 74% win prediction rate, which I believe is the best ever. And I didn't double check that.
You fact check that?
No, I didn't fact check that. Just like I don't double check any of my predictions. I put CLG in once when I didn't think they were actually going to win, and it was the one win in their 1-13 slide that they won, and I happened to be predicting them there. So, I feel pretty good about it.
74% is pretty good. If we had the prediction pineapple, we would hand it over to you, my friend, but unfortunately...
It's okay. I got my own little celebration going on. I put the
Oh, look at that!
Oh.
Confetti! Well done, my friend. Well done. Much deserved prediction pineapple reward there. Let's take a look at the standings, though, because I think people care a little bit more about where the teams land as opposed to where we land. Team Liquid, first place. Cloud9 got that second place bye. FlyQuest eking into third, just above TSM with that victory there over Immortals. Rounding out the playoff picture right now is Golden Guardians, Evil Geniuses, and 100 Thieves. All of their seeds are locked. So the only thing we have left to be decided is this clump, CLG, Dignitas. Who gets 8th?
That is such a good matchup. I know it's crazy to think 5-13 is actually going to deliver a really intense match, but there's so much at stake here. The playoff spot, the players being moved in and out. I'm really looking forward to this tiebreaker.
This immemorial to Immortals. It's the only team that is knocked out so far. Everyone else is still alive, so I just wanted to remember them, remember Insanity, as we don't see them again until 2021.
Well, one more team will be joining them in the gray area at the end of the day here, and one more team will be joining the playoff picture. But as we wrap up the final games of the regular season, we need to take a look at our fastest 5 players of the summer split in the Samsung SSD Fast 5. Our 5 fastest players all split long are Hanser, Svenskeren, PowerOfEvil, Sven, and Huhi. Look at those times by some of these guys. That was almost under 10 minutes for 100 CS. I was really pulling for that one. Crumbs?
There's actually a really interesting time with the junglers here because in the Academy games, I remember the fastest level 6 time, and it's 6:02. So the LCS time of level 6 for a jungler is almost a whole 30 seconds faster.
Is it with Olaf in Academy as well?
I think it was an Olaf. Yeah, everyone's fastest time tends to be Olaf.
Yeah, this is Svenskar and Olaf for sure. I agree with you, Dash. The top first to 100 CS for top lane being Haunter. I think most of the split, I think he got it in like week 2 or 3, and no one else could top it. I thought that was pretty amazing because we had so many big performances out of like Solo and Licorice and Broken Blade. No one could beat the 100 CS speed limit. I thought that was pretty crazy.
I mean, Haunter always does do a great job of collecting CS, though. I mean, that's why his CSD is always so high. It's not just that, like, oh, he's slamming them in lane. It's also like he just doesn't miss CS. So it's not too much of a surprise to see him as the number 1 there.
Yeah, I love to see Haunter showing up for Golden Guardians in the top lane. Notably, Golden Guardians with the only team with 2 members in the Fast 5. It was Huhi in the support position as well. And, of course, he was one of the people we were talking up here at the end of the split. Can't wait to see them perform in their playoff series to come. Don't go anywhere, though, because we have one more game heading your way. We're kicking off tiebreakers with CLG versus Dig right after this.